All right, we're just about ready to start our final game of Flat Track Fever. It is going to be a fantastic battle between the Jane Deers from the Calgary Roller Derby Association and the Redneck Betties from the Southwest Saskatchewan Roller Derby. A quick reminder of our sponsors. Again, thank you to Peterson Contracting for sponsoring our beer garden. Beer is fabulous. I'm a giant fan of all beer does for me. And Peterson Contracting is a multi-trade company, so make sure to check them out for all your electrical, plumbing, gas, and HVAC needs. You can see them on Facebook at Peterson Contracting. Also, Nerd Roller Skates, your specialist for all things roller skates and roller derby. They do skate fittings, wheels, hardware, protective gear, and more. They're open 6 days a week in Calgary and online at nerdskates.com for people who roll. And when you need to roll quick, think quick. Quick bearings from Rydell Skates, where precision meets performance. Also thanks to Girls on Track Foundation. They're sharing the message that by the age of 14, girls are dropping out of sports at twice the rate of boys. Girls on Track wants to change that stat. Learn more about expanding access to roller derby for girls and their teens at girlsontrackfoundation.org. And Buffalo Wild Wings, they have that all-ages sports bar that's 1 block west and 1 block south on McLeod Trail. And again, if you mention Team D, they are going to be helping support junior roller derby, which is fantastic. Now, I don't know if you know this, but there's an after party. I'm really excited about this. In fact, I'm like equally torn on being able to see this fantastic game and then be able to go to the after party at the King's Head Pub. It's pretty close by, and it'll be immediately following the event, so make sure to head on over and join us for some libations and food. It'll be great. I am Big Ugly Jim, and I am joined on the microphone by an almost out of breath Swiss Army Roy.
Good afternoon, everybody. We want to thank you all for coming out for this installment of Flat Track Fever number 7, brought to you by Chinook City Roller Derby. This afternoon's official roll. Today's head ref, we've got Jeff Demis. Our IPR is Dolly Spartan. OPRs are Busty Bruiser, Nitro, and Yabby. Jam refs, Nerd Herder, and Graphy. Our visiting team this afternoon, skating under the number 1, it's General Lee. Number 14, it's Bash and Bindi. Number 17, it's Wrexham All. Skating under the number 22, it's Shell on Earth. Number 241 is Chow Mean. Number 33 is Candace Storier. Number 369 is Glitter Guns. Number 476 is Bellicose Blonde. Number 50 is Slamazonian. Number 51 is Exo Toxic. Number 519 is Malkery. Number 69 is Grayskull. Skating under the number 72 is Pixelated. And number 747 is Round Trip. That's the Redneck Betties.
And our home team, all the way from Calgary, Alberta, Canada, the Jane Deers, starting with number 092, Baby Slice. Number 11, Mamer. Number 1116, Chris My Ass. Number 15, Jigsaw. Number 162, Luscious Lynn. Number 18, Sonia Blade. Number 2, Punchkin. Number 36, Iva Whip. Number 393, Rogrash. Number 485, Gwendsday Adams. Number 5, Nightmare. Number 577, Roland Blackout. Number 624, Masquerade. Number 69, Lush Luthor. And number 99, Brass Monkey. Let's hear it for the home team, the Jane Deers. This is going to be a lot of fun. It's like the Redneck Betties and the Jane Deeres.
I think this should be a fine example of roller derby brought to you here at Flat Track Fever 2018.
And this is, of course, the battle for numbers 1 and 2 in the tournament. Both these teams have done a heck of a job this weekend, and I'm really excited to see this game.
This is the one I'm going to actually get the opportunity to sit for. I was only here early yesterday.
Looks like we've got Bellicose Blonde lined up for the Redneck Betties and taking on number 624 Masquerade. We're just waiting for that first jam to start. And it's awkward when it's quiet, so hi everybody.
Are you ready for some roller derby? There we go, both these jammers are off and running. Bellicose trying to work to the outside. The Masquerade on the inside, she gets through first.
Masquerade definitely punching through the pack first. Bellicose getting tied up with the Jane Deeres, but
being held up there by Chris My Ace. Both these teams doing a good job right off the whistle here, keeping everybody quiet and honest.
And Masquerade gets through, picking up 5 points. First points of the game.
Jane Deere first to strike.
And we've got a couple of...
I see Exotoxic and Bellicose both heading for the penalty box.
Meanwhile, Masquerade also through the pack again, picking up another 5 points.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is our first Power Jam.
Power Jam. Sorry, I grew up watching all those motocross ads.
Are you suggesting it's Sunday, Sunday, Sunday?
It totally is.
Redneck Betty sitting with 0. Jane Deere striking first. They're sitting with 10. 14 now on the board. About 28 minutes and 36 seconds on the board.
Still feel like this is anyone's game.
A little bit of juking and driving and some jostling right there coming out of turn 3. Bindi eyeing up Masquerade right there at the whistle. Had to pull off as she heard those whistles.
Yep. So the Jane Deeres, after that first jam, 19 points. That's a solid opening salvo. And we've got Rogue Rash taking the line for the Jane Deeres up against Chow Mein.
I know there's a couple Chow Mein fans out there. Just as many Rogue Rash fans just ready to see this matchup. Rogue Rash trying to work her way through the center. She got pushed to the inside. Chow Mein able to wait just a little bit longer. She was able to work her way through on the inside. Graffy indicating she grabbed lead jam.
Rogue Rash still tied up a little bit with the pack, but forced outside. She's got to cycle back. Meanwhile, Chow Mein picks up 5 points. Redneck Betty's answering back.
Yeah, that's their first 5 right out of the gate. Chow Mein putting 5 up there. Was that a star pass that I saw, or just Rogue removing her helmet cover?
Yeah, Rogue is still the jammer. And Chow Mein calls it off after grabbing 4 more points.
Chow Mein showing a little bit of a hit it and quit it. We've got the Redneck Betty sitting at 9. Jane Deere just a little bit further ahead currently with 19. 26 minutes and about 52 seconds left on the board. Going into Jam 3. Who do we have on the line, Jim?
Well, I'm glad you asked me that, and I'm stalling for time because I can't see.
I believe that's Iva Whip there on the left.
Iva Whip and Pixelated. I'm a good announcer.
We're just identifying on all our lines currently, folks. We want to thank everybody who's watching online today. A little bit of a rough time right there coming out of turn 2.
Pixelated is through the pack, but Iva Whip does have lead jam.
Iva looking for instructions from her bench.
And Iva Whip calls off the jam just in time. No points scored by either team there.
We're going to reset. Everybody comes out fresh.
As a suggestion to everyone that's enjoying this particular game from the beer garden, I suggest drink all our beer. It's all delicious.
That beer garden is sponsored by Peterson Contracting.
And of course, if that doesn't satisfy you, there's more beer to be found at the King's Head Pub and the after party.
Our after party today is going to be presented at the King's Head. Immediately following the event here this evening, some of us who are going to be tearing down will come in just a little bit later.
Wednesday Adams jamming for the Jane Deers, having a bit of a rough time with some really solid blocking. But the same can be said also. Both teams are kicking some butt.
Bellicose was knocked to her knees there just at turn 3. She was able to recover.
Yeah, that was both jammers tied up hard.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's a star pass there from your Jane Deere.
And Rolling Blackout got the star just before the jam got called off. Unfortunately, was not in a position to be able to score any points.
We want to thank one of our weekend sponsors here, Girls on Track Foundation. girlsontrackfoundation.org.
And we've got Masquerade lining up for the Jane Deers, taking on Chow Mein for the Rolling Betties.
I believe this is their second matchup here. Redneck Betties
I
sitting
said
at 12.
Rolling Betties. It's Redneck Betties.
They are Rednecks, yes. Redneck Betties 12, Jane Deere 19, 24 minutes and 7 seconds on the clock.
Chow Mein breaks through the back and picks up lead jam.
Masquerade trying to make up the distance on her heels currently. I see Sonia Blade trying to herd her deer.
Deers doing a little regrouping in the middle there.
Chow with a little bit of a flip around, going through the back edge of the pack backwards. Looks like she grabbed 3 there.
So far, I can say this game has not in any way let me down. 19-15, and it's been just hard hitting back and forth.
It's a pretty quick one out of the gate here, but
we've got Pixelated jamming for the Betties, taking on Rogue Rash for the Deers.
both of these jammers trying to work their way through. Malmer and Punchkin were trying to get a hold of Pixelated at the back, but Pixelated able to work her way through for lead jam. Rogrash handing off the helmet cover to Baby Slice. I see things stretching out here just a little bit.
And jam gets called off. 2 points picked up by the Redneck Betties. 19-17. Betties have done a great job of holding that after that initial 19-point jam.
The Redneck Betties here have been slowly irking away at that 19 points.
It's
2 points spread at about 7 minutes gone off the first period clock here.
Yeah, and it's what we were talking about in the last game, that idea of, you know, sometimes 2 points far worth just calling off the jam, grab your 2.
I see that Iva Whip, Bellicose Blonde matchup again. Iva near the back, I'm seeing a few people upside down here right in turn 1.
Both packs tying up their jammers.
The Betty is doing a good job of holding the deer jammer back here. As Iva comes back in, things are stretched out.
We're half a minute into this jam. We still don't have a lead jammer. Just nothing but solid blocking.
And they're not even out of turn 2.
And it looks like Bellicose picks up lead jam. And things are happening.
Looks like we're having a discussion here. There may have been an indiscriminate whistle there to call the play dead.
I knew I should have left my whistle at home.
Jim?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I would not put it past you, sir.
I am devious.
Hey, we want to thank Nerd Roller Skates for being a major sponsor of Chinook City Roller Derby's 7th annual Flat Track Fever this year. Nerdskates.com for people who roll. We also want to thank Rydell Skates. They've been an anchor sponsor for this event. We've had a few of our vendors as well. We also want to make a mention that at halftime here, we will have our MVPs. They are graciously being backed by Moda through Nerd here at Roller Skates. And each one of them will be given a $100 gift certificate, I believe.
Yep, a $100 gift certificate for each of the MVPs for the tournament. That's 4 Nerd Roller Skates from Moto. It's going to be pretty cool. So yeah, stick around for halftime rather than sneaking away. We'll do that presentation of the MVPs.
Jeff Demis, making sure everybody's assembled. Dottie says 5 seconds, and we've got Chow Mein going up against Masquerade again.
Yeah, Masquerade and Chow Mein.
I see those girls from the Redneck Betties doing a fair job of holding Masquerade up, but
Masquerade, just like a tank though, punches through, picking up lead jam.
Chow Mein's been recycled a couple of times here and still can't get out at turn 2. There she is, she breaks free, she checks her safety equipment, she's off and running.
And Masquerade calls off the jam. 3 points picked up by the Jane Deers.
Face to face with Grayskull right there at the whistle.
Yep. I think that would be scary.
Grayskull can be quite the individual to look at when she's got you in her crosshairs.
Yep. So we've got number 72, Pixelated, taking on number 485, Wednesday Adams.
Wednesday, with her pigtails all ready to rock and roll, looking like we've got the Redneck Betty sitting with 17, Jane Deers, 22.
This is an entire game of you can take the girl out of the trailer, but you can't take the trailer out of the girl.
You know, there's a bit of a deeper joke there.
I'm something of a philosophizer.
Where is Tracy these days?
I don't know. I miss Tracy. Trailer Park Tracy, one of the founding members of the Jane Deers.
I believe her jersey's in the Alberta Sports Hall of Fame.
I think you're correct. And with one last hit from Mamer, Redneck Betty's number 72, Pixelated, picks up lead jam.
We have one Jane Deere over there in the box. I can't see who's currently there, but I'll try and get that information for you. I see Malkery trying to assemble her Betties. Glitter gets in there as Slamazonian tries to level up with the girls as the whistle goes. What do we got for a score there, Jim?
We're sitting at Jane Deere's 22, Redneck Betty's 21. And it doesn't take someone with a sophisticated math mind like me to know that's a 1-point game.
That is a 1-point game, but I'm thinking the math is 1 beer, 2 beer, 3.
I do like your math, sir.
For everybody over there in our beer gardens, we want to thank you for coming out, as well does Peterson Contracting.
And the best way to say thank you is beer.
Drink up, Buttercup. Both these jammers trying to work their way through. I see Jeff Demis sending one of the Jane Deere to the box here.
Rogue Rash does have lead jam. Lots of solid blocking.
Oh, that was Jigsaw that went. I see Busty Bruiser and Nitro looking on here. as our pack refs.
Deers throwing a little bit of confusion into the works, helping make space for Rogue Rash to get through the pack and pick up another 5 points for the Jane Deers.
Out there all by her lonesome. That's a power jam for Rogue Rash. Oh, the Redneck Betty's trying to get a little bit of a piece of Rogue Rash. General Lee had her close at hand as the whistle went.
If I saw that correctly, I think Bashan Bindi got called on a cut track just at the whistle there, so we'll start out in the penalty box this next jam.
I see Nitmare and the girls reassembling on the Jane Deere bench currently. I see Chow Mein donning that star yet again, going up against Chris. Chris, my ace. Here we go with Redneck Betty sitting with 21, Jane Deere 36. Chow Mein's out there first with Lee Jam, followed closely by Chris. The Jane Deere trying to get a trifecta together up the front. All messed up there by Slamazonian as Malkery tries to come on up and hold back Malmer.
Betty's picking up a couple of points there. Also picking up a couple of points with the Jane Deers.
For those of you who are around here this evening here in Calgary, don't be forgetting our after party is at the King's Head. We also want to thank Buffalo Wild Wings for keeping our officials happy and nourished all weekend long.
And I really appreciated that. I really did.
Did you get a little bit of those vittles today?
I totally did. It was awesome. Iva Whip jamming for the Jane Deers, taking on number 72, Pixelated.
Bindi hops back in with the Bettys, trying to make sure that those jammers don't go anywhere. We're going into one. Who's that out there first? Pixelated, that's it. Redneck Betty sitting with 23, Jane Deere 38.
And Iva Whip completes her initial pass.
Bit of a quick period here. We're halfway through already.
It's a really low scoring period. That's, I think, speaks a lot to the fantastic defense we're seeing.
Experience world-class edging with Radar Halo. Available in a full range of hardnesses from 84A all the way up to 101A. There's a halo for everyone. Looks like we have Bellicose going up against Masquerade again.
Those are two very different style jammers.
Certainly are. I always picture Masquerade as a little bit more of a grinder.
Yeah, absolutely. Masquerade is a tank. Just punches holes through packs.
Speaking of punching a hole through, Masquerade was able to make her way out first. It appears Bellicose is having a little bit of a juke and jive with the outside line here today.
Yeah, Mamer's keeping Bellicose honest.
A little bit of a tit for tat, but we're only 12 points apart here, Jim.
Yep, this has been very, very even and very, very defensive game. Lots of great blocking, lots of really smart gamesmanship. Masquerade tied up there by the Redneck Betty's pack.
We want to thank Origami Owl Custom Jewelry. Tell your story through jewelry.
And Masquerade gets through, picking up 5 points.
Bellicose and the General Lee trying to get on the same page here. General runs on out as Bellicose is being held back. General says, hey, I've got that helmet cover, let's rock and roll. She's gonna put the pedal down in that General Lee and rock on through.
And that's the end of that jam. In our final little bit there, we had no points scored. 9 points altogether by the Jane Deers that jam. That's gonna stretch their lead up 47-26. Still 12 and a half minutes left in the first half. Loads and loads of time for Derby and all kinds of excitement.
It looks like we've got an official review there, Jim. I'm going to say that Creative Vitality has been one of our vendors all weekend. They're helping you create a deeper understanding of your own unique body system.
And you know, I do have a very unique body system, so I think that's fantastic.
You certainly do. Nerd Roller Skates, your specialist for all things roller skate and roller derby. Skate fittings, wheels, hardware, protective gear, and more. Open 6 days a week in Calgary here and online at nerdrollerskates.com for people who roll. What's happening over there in the far end, Jim?
The far end, you mean in the end where there's beer? Are you guys enjoying the beer gardens? They can't hear a word I'm saying.
I'm more interested in the beer than us, sir. Redneck Betty sitting with 26. Jane Deere just a little bit further ahead with 47. We've got about 12 minutes and 19 seconds left on this period 1 clock.
It's been a really, really low scoring game. Again, a very defensive game. Both teams have had really phenomenal work in the pack. It's been kind of fun to watch. All the strategic blocking.
Yes, I'm enjoying that myself, but I gotta say, if you're watching this online, we have to thank you for your patience while our officials make sure that everything's official.
That's why they call them that.
We want to thank Southern Alberta Junior Roller Derby. They put on a fine example of Junior Roller Derby, a couple of different games this weekend. They're promoting safety, cooperation, and wholesome fun and entertainment for the whole family. Southern Alberta Junior Roller Derby.
And again, just as a reminder, this is our battle for first and second place to see which team gets all the glory and which team gets, you know, the awesome job of being in second.
Bragging rights.
Bragging rights, yeah. I mean, the only real bragging rights belong to us, the announcers, because that's all we do is brag about things.
We're going to brag about this gold medal round right here in today's 7th annual Chinook City Roller Derby, Co-Ed Roller Derby League, presentation of Flat Track Fever 2018. I'm living in the past, sir.
You can see the Jane Deeres having a very serious conversation at the on the rink.
5 years of announcing, and I haven't caught up yet. It looks like it's going to be Road Rash starting out on the line.
All right, so the results of our official review, the question was whether or not the jammer had been hit outside of the rink.
The statement was engaging while she was straddling the line.
That's the one.
The officials determined that there was no impact, no consequence. Please carry on. Nothing to see here. These are not the droids you're looking for.
No impact and no consequence. If I could get that made up in a t-shirt.
Road Rash trying to work her way past Glitter. Glitter trying to use her pigtails and reassemble with her redneck Betties.
Road Rash is through. Both jammers now in scoring position.
Who's that missile coming out of the pack? It's Chow Mi. She picked herself up a cutting penalty. She's going to have to sit down for 30 seconds.
That's going to give Jane Deeres a bit of an advantage. They pick up 3 points? 4 points. 4 points. And then call off the jam. So they're going to have a power start here.
That's 4 points shown by Nerd Herder there. When we have our break here between periods, we're going to have MPPs brought to you by Nerd, sponsored by Moda. $100 gift certificates all the way around. Looks like Chris Maes. The Jane Deere forcing a no-pack situation.
Yeah, Chris Maes, a great example of you can knock her down, but you're not going to keep her there.
I was more like a just roll on by there. Chris is out there all by her lonesome.
And Chris Mayas taking full advantage of this power start into a power jam. 5 points picked up for the Jane Deers.
The Redneck Betty sitting with 26. The Jane Deere putting a couple more points on the board, sitting with 56 currently.
Chris punches through the pack, picking up 5 points. Chow Mein also through the pack on her initial pass.
Chow keeping her eye on Chris. A little bit of juking and jiving, going to the left, going to the right. We're getting to see some good jammer on jammer action.
And Chow Mein sneaking around, but Chris calls the jam off.
Not one set of hips fully passed right there at the whistle.
I'm really excited. I want to see the MVP award presentation. I'm curious to see. We've seen so many great skaters, and at halftime we'll of course see who is the MVPs for the tournament.
Speaking of MVPs, I believe that last year Chow Mein grabbed one of those.
I do believe you're correct. Masquerade jamming for the Jane Deers. She'll be taking on Malkery for the Redneck Betties.
This is Malkery's first turn with the star for this period. She got pushed to the inside. She got pushed back to the outside. She spins back around. Jigsaw and the girls trying to stretch her out. Masquerade and Malkery each trying to work their way through the pack here. Malkery to the outside. That was her initial pass. Bashing Bindi trying to stay on her skates, holding back Masquerade, giving Malkery the opportunity to whip back around. Masquerade looks across the track, sees Malkery approaching the pack and says, we're going to call an end to that one.
Jane Deers stretching out their lead now, 66-26. Just under 9 minutes left in the first half. And again, both teams are playing a really strong defensive game. That's a really low score, 66-26.
You know, if I was watching this game from the beer gardens, I'd have to consume more than a few just to be able to keep myself from chewing all my nails down.
It's true, and that's a ghastly, ghastly habit.
What do we
Road
have
Rash.
here?
Oh, pardon me, I said Road Rash and I was wrong. That's Wednesday Adams jamming for the Jane Deers.
Pixelated out there first. I see Wednesday. It appears to try and hold back Pixelated. It appears that there's been a helmet cover pass here.
Chris now jamming after that star pass. 2 points picked up there by the Redneck Betties before the jam got called off.
The Redneck Betty's able to put it back in gear. They were able to grab a couple of points there. The Jane Deere is still sitting right at 66.
Absolutely. What we've seen so far from the Redneck Betties is exactly that. It's the 2 points, 3 points, 4 points, chip away, and all of a sudden, the game changes.
I expect to see a pretty decent jam coming up here with Iva Whip going up against Chow Mein. I got a trifecta. The Jane Deere trying to hold back Chow to the outside of turn one. She was able to slip past them. Iva still back in the pack.
Iva leaving bodies all over the floor. Finally gets through on her first pass.
Iva trying to get the license plate of that General Lee there.
And 3 points picked up by the Redneck Betties. No points for the Jane Deers. Again, same thing we just said.
I see another hit it and quit it.
Hit it and quit
Chow
it.
Mein able to bring the score up for the Redneck Betties to 31. Jane Deere still sitting at 66. We've got about 6 minutes and 30 seconds left on the clock. We're going into jam 19.
And if you remember, the first jam was 19 points, and then the Betties held the Jane Deers and kept chipping away.
Hey, it's Road Rash up against Pixelated. Road Rash to the outside. Pixelated still stalled in the middle of the pack. Road Rash knocked to the inside. I believe that was Exotoxic getting her shoulder on her. Malkery trying to keep an eye on her as well. I see Pixelated out there first.
Lots of heavy hits there. Malkery and Slamazonian tying up Rogrash, who finally makes through, gets in that initial pass. Meanwhile, Pixelated grabs 4 points for the Redneck Betties.
Graffy indicating 4 points on that last pass as she has lead jam. Rogue trying to work her way past Malkery. Malkery believed that she had put her out, but she was just able to stay in on her toe stops.
4 points picked up that last lap by the Jane Deers, Rogrash.
Can anybody over there in the beer gardens hear me? Stay puffed. I see you over there. Make a little bit of noise, sir. We want to thank everybody for being out there in our Peterson Contracting beer gardens.
Beer.
Beer. It's not just for breakfast anymore. Redneck Betty's sitting with 37. Jane Deere 70.
And we've got ourselves a timeout with just under 5 minutes left.
I know there's a few fans of Masquerade out there, but I know there's a couple Gray Skull fans out there. She's going to be putting the star on for this next go round. Glitter guns making things entertaining on the jam line.
And Masquerade pushing hard against that pack. Grayskull also. Both jammers fighting their way through almost instantaneously. Grayskull had lead jam, called it off.
Well, there's a quick lull in the action here. I want to thank every one of our volunteers for Flat Track Fever 2018. Without the volunteers here, we can't put this event on. We want to thank them all for being here, especially our EMTs. The Boo Boo Brigade have been doing a fantastic job all weekend long.
And we've kept them moving. We have kept them moving hard. Chow Mein taking the line up against Chris.
Redneck Betty sitting with 37, Jane Deere 70. We've got about 3 minutes and 55 seconds left on this first period clock.
Chris My Ass has lead jam, playing a little bit with Chow Mein. I don't want to suggest that she's playing with her food because that diminishes Chow Mein, but you know, Chow Mein, it's funny.
Both these jammers going left and right here. Chow Mein trying to hold Chris back. Chris with a big smile on her face because she knows she could call it off.
It's all about the power, baby.
Something about having that advantage in your pocket. Grayskull, ready to rock and roll.
And looks like Iva Whip will be taking the jam line for the Jane Deers.
Luscious Lynn and the girls looking over their shoulder, waiting for Iva to try and help their jammer through. Grayskull hopping through on the inside, on her toe stops, back to the line. Looking for instructions from her bench.
And jam called off, no points scored. That's gonna hold us steady at 70 points for the Jane Deers, 37 for the Redneck Betties. Still 2.5 minutes left in this first half.
We know that there's more than a couple Jane Deere fans here in Calgary. I see Pixelated getting all set up for the Redneck Betties. Coming out of Saskatchewan.
And Rogrash tying up with the pack. Meanwhile, Pixelated sent to the back after getting knocked outside.
There we are. There's our first one out. Who's that? That's Rogrash, is it not?
Rogrash indeed, picking up lead jam. Pixelated still working our way through that solid Jane Deere's defense.
Seeing a little bit of strategy left and right here with the helmet covers today.
There was a huge hip check there by General Lee on Rogue Rash, but Rash makes it through, picking up 5 points.
General Lee being the last line of defense there for the Betties.
And we got a cut track there.
Bellicose Blonde is going to sit down with the jammer helmet cover in her hand.
Oh my, that's going to make this one of them their power jams.
Yes, that's advantage for Rogue Rash.
And we've seen Jane Deere's take advantage of this in the past. Rogue Rash putting 5 more points up on the board.
For those of you in the house, don't be forgetting to stick around during halftime. We've got our MVPs, graciously sponsored by Nerd and Moda.
Rogue Rash makes it through again, another 5 points.
Bellicose makes her way through. She's going to grab that helmet cover and try and work her way on. We've got Redneck Betty sitting with 37. Jane Deere just a little bit further ahead, 90 full points on the board currently.
And that was a 20-point jam for the Jane Deeres. And we're just going to take a quick moment. Make sure you guys stick around. I see Dev Null walking over this way. He's going to be giving the MVP awards to the tournament members. And I think we are officially going to be in our intermission, so that means Dev can get on with this fantastic presentation.
It appears Jeff Demis has said it's our officially half time. We want to thank Dev Null for coming out and on behalf of Nerd Roller Skates making the MVP announcements today.
All Dev Null ever does is come out and knock the papers on the floor. Okay. First, I would like to thank all of the SHARD parents who came out to volunteer and our SHARD juniors that came out and volunteered to tape the track. Without your help as volunteers, we couldn't do this. CCRD and CRDA members as well, thank you. Again, without the volunteers, we wouldn't be able to make this event happen. Don't forget that we have the after party at the King's Head Pub. It's just a short walk down the block, so go down there, get some food, get some beer, sing some karaoke. I hear that Big Ugly Jim is really good at karaoke, so you don't want to hear that. Okay. MVP awards. So tournament MVP awards have been selected by the teams for the best jammer and blocker for the tournament. For MVP blocker, we have NFRD's Fish.
Fish, MVP blocker for the tournament. Fish, if you're in the house, come on up here and see Dev Null and grab your
right
Nerd gift certificate. Fish, are you in the house?
Fish is coming.
Flat Track Fever.
All right.
Flat Track Fevers 2018. Blocker for Flat Track Fever 2018. Fish. Proudly presented by Nerd Roller Skates. We want to thank Dev Null for helping make the presentations and helping facilitate these gift certificates, also sponsored by Moda.
No, yeah, actually hang up. All right, MVP Jammer for the tournament. Tournament MVP Jammer is going to Bellicose Blonde from the Redneck Betties.
MVP Jammer Bellicose Blonde, would you please come pick up your gift certificate?
So MVP Jammer and Blocker Awards were donated by Moda Skates, one of our sponsors. Moda Skates is giving each of them a $100 US gift certificate to be spent at Nerd Roller Skates.
That's a $100 gift certificate in US funds from Moda and Nerd Roller Skates. Again, MVPs, Bellicose Blonde and Fish. Ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't know, in the house here we have our very own beer gardens that is brought to you by Peterson Consulting. We want to thank them for helping sponsor our beer gardens all weekend long. If you want to get yourself Common Ground fermented malt beverages, please see our individuals over there in the Peterson Contracting Beer Gardens. That's facebook.com, Peterson Contracting.
And remember, partake in the beer garden very much, but please don't drink and drive.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, please ration and drive.
All right.
I want to give Rice Ball a shout out because he's been over here all weekend long shooting things, shooting digital photography. Yes, I should have been eating that muffin just like yourself. We want to thank you very much, Rice Ball, for coming out.
Absolutely. So that was a hell of a first half. I have to say that's really been a phenomenal, like the whole tournament has been great, but this has been excellent roller derby.
The last couple of games last evening were quite entertaining. I haven't had the opportunity to see all the games today. How have they been, Jim? I've just seen this last one. This one here seems to be quite tight, even though the score is sitting at Jane Deere 94, Redneck Betty's 37.
You know what, the day has been full of all kinds of action. Some of it has been really phenomenal. Some of it has been, unfortunately, like there was a game that had to get called because of penalties and things like that. But, you know, these things do happen.
You mean helmet covers, do you not?
No, I mean bad penalties. However,
penalties.
this one has been a solid, good, clean game, actually. Not a whole lot of penalties, just really solid. And I'm really enjoying the different way the two teams play off each other.
For those of you who weren't watching online during our halftime, I want to mention that as we go to our first line here, we've got our tournament MVP, Bellicose Blonde, going to be going up against Masquerade.
And over the halftime, I received a text message from my old pal, Trailer Park Tracy.
Hey, hey, Trailer, we know you're out there.
Yeah, she sent me a message. She said she was sorry she couldn't be here, but to the Jane Deers, she's at home or at work, I think, watching and cheering you guys on.
Everybody in the house, put your hands together for your Redneck Betties and Jane Deere.
All right, our first jam. We've got the aforementioned Bellicose Blonde taking on Masquerade.
If we're a little bit loud online, people, we apologize, but in-house here, we're going to be making this one a go of it. Masquerade just comes back in from the outside. Both these jammers being held up currently.
Yeah, we're seeing that same thing we saw the last half. Solid defense. Bellicose Blonde picking up lead jam.
Bellicose trying to keep herself on her skates as she come out of turn 4.
Well, I can speak from my experience, and that is skates are hard.
Sir, I think you'd be more like a duck out of water on skates.
Very, very much so. Bellicose Blonde picking up 5 points for the Redneck Betties.
Being a Glenmore Reservoir Dog alumni, I have to say, I miss being on the skates every weekend. Redneck Betties sitting with 42, Jane Deere's 94. Hey, Jim, you know, I want to thank Fat Boy Schwarzenberger for being out here for the last game. He was working that one with you. I don't know who was here earlier today. I believe Stay Puft did one of the bouts. Did anyone else?
I actually don't know who was calling earlier. I got here in time for the third game.
Rogue Rash out there for the Jane Deere. It looks like Gray Skull for the Redneck Betties.
Grayskull, I don't know if you know this, has an entire castle named after her.
If you're a Redneck Betty fan, I hear they're making a little bit of noise as Grayskull gets out there first. Rograss still trying to make her way through. She's been put to the outside, trying to come back through the inside. Mallory gets a hip on her. She's trying to get a shoulder on her currently. She's palmed the helmet cover, trying to work her way through. Gray Skull just keeps rolling on by. She grabbed 5 points for the Redneck Betties.
And again, right, makes her way through the pack. Another 5 points for the Redneck Betties. Rogue Rash still just dealing with a lot of really big hits.
It appears that Rogue Rash has not made her first pass.
And in fact, it looks like Rogue Rage did a star pass there to Brass Monkey.
Brass Monkey approaching the pack, puts the helmet cover on. The Redneck Betties call it to an end.
Brass Monkey, that funky monkey.
You're getting a little bit of beastie this afternoon.
Well, a guy's got to go with his skills.
I hear a Beastie fan over there in our beer gardens. They're sponsored by Peterson Contracting today. We want to thank you all for coming out and partaking of our fermented libations.
And we've got Pixelated taking on Chris My Ass. Pixelated forced outside, has to cycle back. Chris punching away.
Chris trying to do her Gumby imitation through the middle of the pack.
Chris is very much like a force. There's a whole part of physics devoted solely to how she punches through packs that way.
Just when you figure Chris is slowed down, she puts on the afterburners yet again.
4 points picked up there for the Jane Deeres by Chris My Ass.
As Pixelated approached the pack there, Chris said, that's enough of that. We're going to put those ones on the scoreboard. Rednecks sitting with 61. Calgary's Jane Deere knocking on the century mark with 98.
Knocking on the century mark. That's probably another good way to describe me. And we've got Masquerade and Chow Mein jamming this time.
2 more points and they're going to be ahead by a century.
That's true. If they just stay there, though, they'll be at the 100th meridian where the Great Plains begin.
Don't count those Redneck Betties out, though. They're sitting there working their way through with Chow Mein anchoring the team currently. Looks like Masquerade's still trying to fight her way through. Brought back by Malkery.
And Chow Mein punches through the pack, picking up 5 points for the Redneck Betties.
General Lee almost upturned by Chris as she went by. I see glitter guns and the girls trying to make a hole for Chow Mein. There's the last two of the Jane Deere holding on. They push Chow Mein to the inside as we call that one to an end. We're sitting currently with Redneck Betties with 66. The Jane Deere stalled at 98. We got 38 points spread currently. When we go back to action here, we're going to have about 24 minutes and 31 or 29 seconds left on the board. We've got Iva Whip going up against Bellicose Blonde. We've got an official timeout brought to you by our officials. That's going to be an official timeout.
Officially. And I would be remiss if I didn't remind you guys that there's an after party at the King's Head Pub. We're going to have some karaoke, some beer, some various snack type foods.
Did you call that karaoke?
Karaoke.
No, karaoke. We got Redneck Betties and Jane Deere's going out to that one. Or is that me in the bluegrass?
I think it's going to be a heck of a good time. King's Head Pub's always fun to have an after party at.
Iron Horse was booked somewhere else.
And thus, with the whistle, ends our official timeout.
When the dust settles here in the gold medal round, we're going to see what happens. Our first offering here right off the whistle, we've got Bellicose Blonde out there all by her lonesome. Did you happen to know it's Sunday, 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 and she's on a
Power Jam.
I see each one of our benches being nice and quick, calm, and released here.
And Bellicose grabs 5 points. This is definitely the break the Redneck Betties have been looking for.
There we go. I see that helmet cover back on ahead. Who have we got out there, Jim?
That's Baby Slice. Baby Slice is officially jamming for the Deers now. And
Baby Slice trying to get low right there as she comes past her Jane Deere there.
Redneck Betty's picking up 3 points. No points for the Jane Deers that time.
I see Nerd Herder coming over here, just making sure that the points are on the up and up. I have the Redneck Betty sitting with 76, Jane Deere's with 98. A little bit of chipping away there by the Betties, hey?
Absolutely. And we're looking at Iva Whip jamming for the Jane Deeres and Gray Skull. Gray Skull called on a cut track. That's going to give Iva Whip a power jam and an opportunity to answer back for that last power jam.
We want to thank every one of our athletes for being out this weekend. We had a fine example of junior roller derby in a couple installments this weekend.
I have to say, I called one of the junior roller derby games. I did not think that was junior, like that. They were playing at a top level.
That was level 3 roller derby, sir, and when they level up, I think there's going to be a few of these adult players who just may retire. Redneck Betty setting with 76. Jane Deere, 98. 22 minutes left on the period 2 clock.
And General Lee threw a couple solid shoulders into Iva Whip, who called the jam off from the inside.
Brass Monkey hits the ground right there at the whistle with a big smile on her face. She rolls back on over and gets on over to the bench.
And it looks like Masquerade's going to be starting this jam off for the Jane Deers. And number 72, Pixelated for the Redneck Betties.
I see Malmer trying to get close to that jam line. I think she's going to try and mix things up when that whistle goes.
And it looks like we're enjoying another official timeout.
Lush Luther and the girls for the Jane just all getting ready up, having a bit of a powwow off the front end of that jam line. I see a couple of the Redneck Betties stand nice and close, real quick, ready to rock and roll here. Pixelated talking strategy.
All right, looks like we're about to get back to the action. Again, Masquerade taking on Pixelated.
I believe Glitter Guns grabbed herself a clockwise block there.
And Pixelated picks up lead jam.
If you're a Pixelated fan, make a little bit of noise. She's out there all by her lonesome. Masquerade trying to make up a little bit of room here.
Nice hit on Pixelated there by Wednesday Adams. Jam called off, no points scored.
Round trip and the girls there from the Redneck Betties trying to come together right there at the whistle. Hey, look at that. Ahead by the century, it's Jane Deers sitting with 103, Redneck Betties 76.
Still a very close game. That's what, 27 points. See, college graduate.
Well, speaking of graduating, both these teams are trying to graduate to the #1 spot here, trying to grab the gold for today's 2018 installment of Flat Track Fever, brought to you by Chinook City Roller Derby.
And we've got Chow Mein getting lead jam. Both of these jammers, Chris Mayass and Chow Mein, both extremely talented.
If you're a Chow Mein fan, you better scream. She wants to hear you out there. She's going to try and put a few more points on the board as she tries to herd her girls.
It's interesting, though, the two jammers are both exceptional athletes and putting each other through their paces. 1 point there picked up.
That was a quick one.
And it was Chris Mayass getting the 1 point for the Jane Deers.
One lonely little point. That doesn't mean the Redneck Betties are out. They're sitting with 76. Jane Deere 104. Going into jam number 9.
And we've got Iva Whip taking on Bellicose Blonde.
I see these teams gonna relax for a minute here. Looks like we've got a timeout.
I have to admit, every time I see Iva Whip, I want to pronounce it whip.
I see our jam timer, Dottie, just double checking. Guys looking for Dottie, she's looking for entertainment over here. Sorry, hey Darko, look at Darko. A little bit of fun here on the sidelines. It's Darko.
All right. More stuff is happening.
Did you see that? Everybody ready to rock and roll. I see Yabby happily and quick on it.
All right, Iva Whip starting with a power start here.
I see nice guy Eddie for the Redneck Betties looking on, hoping that he sees a little bit of entertainment happening here. I'm hearing a whistle coming in for
Iva Whip fighting hard through that pack of Redneck Betties and picking up lead jam for the Jane Deers.
General Lee grabbed herself 30 seconds. It appears that Iva Whip's got there. If you're a Chow Mein fan, make a little bit of noise. She's on her power jam. Yes, she has advantage. She's going to try and work her way past Jigsaw. She does so on the inside. Luscious Lynn and the girls going to reassemble here. Malmer getting a bit of a hard time from those Redneck Betties.
Jigsaw gets a hip on Xiaomin, but not enough to stop her as she picks 5 more points up for the Redneck Betties.
Malmer getting a hard time from Rexamal. I'm hearing some herding going on in the pack here. Xiaomin trying to spin her way through on the outside of turn 3.
Mamer and Luscious tying up Xiaomin, but Xiaomin getting through and picking up another 5 points.
Luscious Lynn had to let her go right at the edge of play. Speaking of play, folks, it's looking like both teams are trying to work their way through. That Jane Deere jammer getting knocked to the inside. Things appear to be getting a little bit choppy right here at the end.
And we get by with a little help from our friends. General Lee breaking up that trio, allowing Xiaomin to get through, put 4 more points up on the board. 15-point jam there for the Redneck Betties.
Jeff Demis and his ref crew all getting reassembled. Our head ref for this one is Jeff Demis. Our IPR is Dolly Spartan. OPR is a Busty Bruiser, Nitro Glittering, and Yami. Our jam refs today are Nerd Herder and Graffy.
So that jam definitely helped out the Redneck Betties. 104 to 91. They're chipping away hard at that lead by the Jane Deeres, but we've got a Jane Deere lead jammer here in Chris Mayass.
I also want to thank our sideline official today, Genuine. We're sitting here with Grayskull, anchoring the team currently for the Redneck Betties with Chris Mayass for the Jane Deere. Grayskull warming our penalty box currently.
And Chris makes it through the pack again. Another 5 points for the Jane Deeres.
That's 5 points to Chris. I see Lush heading for the penalty box. She's got 30 seconds. I missed her penalty call there, as Chris does a little bit of high stepping through on the inside.
Both jammers now back on the floor. And that is the jam. 2 points picked up by the Jane Deeres.
Seeing a little bit of a rough coming together at the whistle there. Malkery voicing her concern to one of the Deers. I see Pixelated grabbing the star, getting ready for the Redneck Betties.
And Jane Deere's call a timeout.
Coach Keeks for the Jane Deere calling the timeout.
We're looking at about 15 minutes and 11 seconds left in the half. In the game, sorry. 121 to 91. Jane Deere's with a 30-point lead. But that was a 50-point lead, I think, when we...
You're the one with the degree, sir.
Yeah, I have no short-term memory because of beer.
Speaking of degrees, you don't need a degree to sit down in our beer gardens over there. We want to thank everybody for having a cold beverage. Make a little bit of noise. We want to thank you for being over there in our beer gardens. Is that Zombie over there? Could be. We want to thank everyone for coming out for this year's installment. This is our 7th annual Flat Track Fever. This is my 5th announcing for Flat Track Fever.
I have no idea how many I've done. I honestly don't know.
We're going to have to track that. You know, with your 5th, you get a pin.
Then this makes this my 5th.
There is no gold watch. But you know what? If you talk to me nice, I might be able to find you a cold fermented malt beverage over in our Peterson Contracting Beer Garden.
That sounds delicious. Pixelated lining up for the Redneck Betties, taking on Masquerade for the Jane Deeres. Both jammers fighting with packs, but Looks like a back block, I believe, called on Pixelated. That's going to give the Deers a power jam.
Glitter Guns getting a little bit of shoulder there on Sonia Blade as Bashan Bindi tries to reassemble the Redneck Betties. Exotoxic trying to help out there. There we go. Bindi riding it right out in turn 4.
Masquerade bowls over Bashan Bindi.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't know, we've got full contact female roller derby. Calm, cool, and collected. Pixelated tries to come back in. She's getting a bit of a hard time between the jammer and pivot line. She was knocked to the inside.
And you know what kills me? Like, this has been an entire weekend of hardcore roller derby action, and this is the final game, and these, you can't tell they're tired. They're working so hard. Huge hit there by Maimer on Pixelated.
Jigsaw had to let Pixelated go right at the edge of play. I see Exotoxic went to her knees. She's back in. She's going to try and jostle things up with Jigsaw and Sonia Blade. We got the Redneck Betty sitting with 91. Calgary's Jane Deers, 134. When we go back to action here, we'll have about 13 minutes left. 13 minutes and, well, I'll go with 12 minutes and 55 seconds when we go back to that next whistle. Oh, you know what? I'll let you do the math.
X. It's always X. Lining up at the jam line, we've got Rogue Rash for the Jane Deers and Bellicose Blonde for the Redneck Betties.
Please make sure brain is engaged before mouth operation.
Rogue Rash picks up lead jam.
Bellicose finally makes her way out of the pack. She's going to try and make her way around as a Rogue Rash trying to attain some points. Being stopped up right there in the pack. I didn't see how many points she grabbed. It looks like she grabbed 3.
Yep, 3 points for the Jane Deers, no points for the Redneck Betties. Jam called off before any damage could be done.
The Redneck Betties seem to be stalled out right now. Sitting at 91. When we go to Jam 13, Jane Deere will be holding 137 points in their bag. 12 minutes and 11 seconds left on the clock. Jim, where is our after party this evening?
I'm glad you asked me. Our after party is going to be at the King's Head Pub, which is a fantastic place to go for beer and various foodstuffs and karaoke.
2 blocks west, 1 block south.
That's the Buffalo. Yeah, I'm actually, I've been prepping my voice all night. I'm ready to do some beautiful, beautiful singing.
Song, some blue.
No.
You're a Neil Diamond fan, I know you are.
We're all Neil Diamond fans at some level.
You're gonna sing Copacabana, aren't you?
Don't give away my jams, yo.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've been Swiss Army Roy. I believe Jim's gonna just send this guy down the river.
It looks like we've got Chow Mein taking on Chris My Ass.
It appears Chow Mein was having a little bit of a overheating problem there. She had to pull the helmet and let the radiator cool off.
Chris My Ass through the back gets lead jam. Both jammers are in scoring position though.
It appears yet again for Flat Track Fever 2018, they turn on the heat outside and inside.
And Chris calls it off, grabbing 4 points. That's going to take the Jane Deers to 141.
Redneck Betty is being held at 91 currently. This bout is far from over. This is period 2. We've got about 11 minutes, 25 seconds left on the clock. I see our tournament MVP jammer lined up to jam Bellicose Blonde.
And Bellicose will be up against Masquerade there.
I want to say, hey, Fish, we remember that you're the MVP blocker.
Bellicose picks up lead jam.
Bellicose, calm, cool, and collected. Masquerade joined the fray.
And it looks
being
like
held back.
5 points picked up there for the Redneck Betties.
Redneck Betty's back in gear. I believe they're in first. They're going to try and go around. They got 96 currently.
And we've had a star pass to Baby Slice.
Baby's going to try and work against General Lee. Grayskull slowed right up there at the whistle.
Both teams picking up 1 point that last stop.
A big grand total of 1 each. Redneck Betty sitting with 97, knocking on that century mark.
Yeah, Jane Deere's at 142, 10 minutes remaining in the game. Plenty of time for things to go all kinds of different directions.
I know for a few of the people here in the house, they're waiting for that 10 minutes to wind down so that they can get on over behind the orange fence and partake of a few libations, myself included.
I would not be against having a quick beer, that's for sure.
For those of you online watching the feed, we want to thank you very much for watching. Currently, our cameraman, Dev Null, standing up in our Calgary roller skate scaffolding, trying to make sure that everybody at home can watch this. We want to thank you very much for hanging on and watching.
I have a whip lead jam, pixelated jamming. Jam gets called off. Jane Deere's picking up 2 points there.
I saw Shell on Earth just coming in from a penalty right at the very whistle there. We want to thank every one of our NSOs this weekend.
Absolutely, that's so important that the help they provide makes this possible.
Speaking of people who work above and beyond, I see DX over there working hard in the background.
Chow Mein and Chris My Ass. This time it's Chow Mein picking up lead jam. I get the feeling these two like skating against each other.
Did you say Chow Mein with lead jam? Followed closely by Chris My Ace. Malkery putting a good shoulder on Chris, backed by Exotoxic. Malkery and Chris having a bit of a love-in right there at the whistle.
What the world needs now is love.
There are a few people in roller derby who will tell you love has nothing to do with it. Nobody would win if we weren't keeping score. Speaking of score, we've got the Jane Deere with 144. The Redneck Betty's a little bit further behind with 97.
When we've got ourselves a timeout with 7:54 left on the clock.
Is this an official timeout? I don't see our, maybe I do see our head ref. Oh, I see we're going to keep everything official. It appears that Chow Mein is going to take a little bit of plastic in the penalty box. What's that mean, Jim, when we go back to full-on, full contact roller derby action here?
Well, I'm glad you asked. You see, when we have a scenario where the jammer from one team is in the penalty box, we colloquially refer to that as the power jam.
Are you suggesting that Rogue Rash has advantage right off the whistle?
That is exactly what I am suggesting, sir. Rogue Rash ready to cash in and see what she can make out of this opportunity.
A quick no-pack situation brought to you by the Jane Deere there. Rogue Rash being held up. Grayskull pulling her back, saying, hey, let's rock and roll. Each one of these teams doing a fine job. The Redneck Betties were able to just pull over the century mark. They're sitting with 101.
And we're looking at some very, very good penalty killing by the Redneck Betties. They've been taking turns keeping Rogue Rash tied up. She does make it through and picks up lead jam.
That's the Saskatchewan and Lower Southern Alberta crew working hard.
Absolutely.
For those of you online down in Medicine Hat, I want to give you a shout out.
And 2 points there picked up by the Jane Deers. 1 point for the Redneck Betties in that last jam. It's going to take us to 147 to 102. I gotta hand it. That was really great example of how to kill a penalty. The Betties did a great job of tying up Rogue Rash.
From whistle to whistle and not one complete rotation of the track, sir. As I consume water from my Gas City Rollers Gatorade bottle today, I'm going to say it's hot like it is down there today here in Calgary. But that said, you need a cold libation and you got to roll yourself down to our beer gardens. Our beer gardens are sponsored by Peterson Contracting. They're a multi-trade company. They give you electrical, plumbing, and gas. Don't be forgetting those HVAC needs. That's facebook.com, Peterson Contracting. We also want to thank Nerd Roller Skates, nerdskates.com for people who roll.
And we have an official review. I don't know what they're reviewing, but I bet it's official like.
You know, those people in the red and white stripes, that the Zebra crew, they love to keep it official. I can't do that fully official rollout. My tongue just doesn't work that way.
It's an official. I am starting to become almost dangerously fixated on the King's Head Pub and the promise of karaoke to be.
You know, I'm dangerously fixated on the fact that Mr. Blue is standing over there with a cider in his hand, and Dodger Balls does not have a fermented malt beverage in his hand.
And it's like the people who can be in the beer gardens don't respect that. We're poor thirsty bastards over there.
I don't think the Dodgers Balls is respecting the beer garden etiquette. Fermented malt beverage, sir. Fermented malt beverage.
So the all right, the official review is that they were wondering whether or not the green jammer was skating out of bounds. It was determined that they were not. So the official review is reviewed.
Tossed. Lose. We lost that one.
Yep.
Bye-bye. Not to be had again.
Never again.
We want to thank our sideline official, Genuine, for bringing us that information. Who's off and running here? I think I see Belco's Bond going up against Masquerade.
Yep.
Okay, everybody fall down. Everybody fall down.
And Masquerade has the official lead jam call.
Malkery chasing Masquerade all the way out to the edge of play.
And a whole bunch more bodies hit the floor.
A little bit of a malfunction at the junction for everybody right now in these waning minutes of the second period.
Masquerade, however, was able to put 5 points up on the Jane Deere's scoreboard.
I see Punchkin trying to assemble the girls for the Jane Deere out front. Still holding up. Bellicose there.
Masquerade finds a space in the center and inside and makes it through with 5 points.
Graffy indicating Mask was able to grab another 5 points on that last pass. Roller derby as Malkery tries to roll on through. There we go. We're off and running. It appears the pack's rolling its way around. Bellicose grabbed herself a penalty. She's going to go sit down.
5 last points there picked up by the Jane Deers, 1 for the Redneck Betties.
The Redneck Betties slowing to a crawl here, 103.
Yeah, I thought for a second it was more than that, but I'm wrong.
They're stuck in 4 low currently. They've got to make it across the stubble out there in Saskatchewan.
Oh yeah. No, it's interesting because I watched the action and the score is not reflective. There's some great play on both sides.
Quite the amount of tete-a-tete going on.
Definitely. And we've got both Iowa Whip and Pixelated jousting. Pixelated gets through first, but Iowa Whip well in advance.
She was hammered by the last Jane Deere there. She went down.
No points scored as Pixelated smartly calls off the jam.
And that was Luscious Lynn pulling a bit of a flip there right onto the concrete. She celebrates that as she goes to sit down.
There is nothing soft about our concrete here, that's for sure.
No, it's quite slippery today too. Are there any Chow Mein fans in the house? She's going to take the star. She's going to anchor the team. She's off and running. I see the Jane Deere jammer hit the ground. She came back up and she comes out first. Chris, my ace.
And that's what I said earlier. She may fall down or get hit down, but she's not staying there.
She keeps moving. I think she just keeps on trucking. Keep on swimming. Keep on swimming.
And Chris my ass through the pack. Called on a cut track penalty.
Chow Mein just staying on her feet by gush and by golly. Looking like Jigsaw wants to run out there and claim the track first. What are you looking at there, Jim?
I'm not entirely
you seem
sure.
a little perplexed.
I'm not entirely sure. Jam got called off by Chris my ass.
Did Chris grab a penalty right there at the whistle?
Yep. And that's where I'm confused.
Was she receiving that penalty as she called it off?
I don't think so. I think it happened before.
Ooh.
So there's a team timeout. I have a funny feeling I have an idea what they're doing.
I think our officials are going to have a bit of a quandary on their hands.
They're probably asking the same questions I just did.
I want to thank every one of our volunteers for being out here at Flat Track Fever 2018. This is our 7th annual Flat Track Fever. I'm always disheveled when Riceball comes over to change lenses on his camera.
Another way to think of it is that this is our 1st annual Track Flat Fever.
Hey, thank you for that. I don't know if I could have said that better myself. You know, I'm seeing a few of the locals over there in our beer gardens. Let's not be forgetting that we've got our after party immediately following at the King's Head.
Delicious beer. All right, Pixelated is jamming on behalf of the Redneck Betties. And this is a power start as Chris my ass is in the penalty box.
Jim, I'm going to have to ask you, what's today's forecast?
Today's forecast is warm and sunny with occasional beers.
There you go, brought to you by Peterson Contracting.
Pixelated grabs that lead jam spot.
I see Punchkin looking over her shoulder, trying to make sure that she helps her Jane Deere jammer come through. Mallory trying to do her best to knock her down. Mallory trying to pull her back.
But much like the Chumbawamba song, she gets knocked down, but she gets up again. And that makes me officially the only person who remembers Chumbawamba.
I was just about to say that my musical knowledge was there for that. I was trying to come up with anything of Chumbawamba's medley, but I think there may be one song that I know.
They are fantastic. Rogue Rash jamming for the Jane Deers, taking on.
But I was thinking it was time for some fine malt lyrics, sir. What's going on in that pack? A little bit of jumping around.
Bellicose picks up lead jam.
I gotta say that this tournament is dragged on a little bit late into the Sunday. No big hopping moves at this hour.
That's well played.
I'm trying to will a couple of unicorns, sir.
And jam called off. 3 points picked up by the Jane Deers. 2 points for the Redneck Betties.
I see both these teams going to take a deep breath, reach down in their bag of tricks as they go to this last one. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to the jam clock.
I think we're going to have one last jam, if I'm not mistaken, but I could be wrong.
Part of flat track rules and our tournament rules, we're going to wait that 30 seconds to make sure that everything's official. Make sure that there's no official challenges.
Indeed. All right, that is going to be our final score. Jane Deers 168, Redneck Betties 114. That makes the Jane Deers the #1 team at Flat Track Fever 2018.
Well, that's right, folks. The Jane Deere 168 to the Redneck Betties 114 final. For everybody out there online, we want to thank you very much for sticking around. That's been Redneck Betties and Calgary Jane Deers. The Jane Deers, #1, Redneck Betties, silver.
No one can hear us right now.
I want to thank Big Ugly Jim for being out here for our final gold medal round. I've been Swiss Army. I'm going to go run to the track and get my hands on a sweaty derby person. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children of all ages, we want to thank you for coming out to Flat Track #7. That's brought to you by Chinook City Roller Derby, Calgary's only co-led roller derby league. Check us out online at chinookscity.ca. This has been the golden medal presentation for the Jane Deers 168. Redneck Betties with 114. That's the final score. That's Flat Track Fever 2018. I've been Swiss Army Roy. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, if you drink, please don't drive. If either one of the teams don't know, we're going to get a picture at the scoreboard. I know that Rice Ball would like to get an official photo of all of you here.